The dark secret of sexuality and love in Stoicism. Have you ever thought that the way we see love and sexuality might be different from how the ancient Greek philosophers saw it? When we look at these concepts through the Stoic perspective, a new world filled with secrets opens up to us. But the question is, are they wrong or are they right? Want to know more? Stay tuned to the end of the video to find out. Stoicism on sexuality. In Stoicism, the approach to love and sexuality is one of careful consideration and mindfulness, as they are seen as opportunities to practice virtue and strengthen connections with others. Stoicism regards sexual desire as a natural aspect of humanity that requires a moral response, and it is also viewed as a way to establish harmony with the universe and oneself. According to Stoicism, the ideal approach to intimacy involves combining friendship, morality, and companionship with the physical aspect of a relationship. In simpler terms, Stoics believe that genuine intimacy should be reserved for those we love and respect. They place great value on friendship and companionship, which extends to their views on sexuality. Stoicism teaches us to appreciate the presence of others, recognize the impermanence of relationships, and regulate our emotions, including love, in order to experience it fully without sacrificing our inner peace. Stoics emphasize the importance of genuine connection, detachment, and the understanding that true love is freeing rather than possessive. They see love as a way to celebrate life and bond with others. However, in the Stoic view, this sense of affection and intimacy is limited to a deep emotional bond and mutual respect between a man and a woman. Despite their support for intimacy within friendship and community, Stoics still held reservations about it. For example, excessive sexual desire was generally disapproved of in traditional Stoic beliefs. But why did Stoics approach intimacy with such caution? They believed that engaging in intimacy could lead to a life of disorder, vice, and a loss of inner freedom. This belief is because it would mean entrusting a significant portion of our happiness to another person, which contradicts their strong belief in self-fulfillment. It might come as a surprise, but Stoics didn't always see eye to eye on their views on sexuality. Throughout history, there have been differing perspectives on sex, with some embracing a more open approach and others taking a more conservative stance. This dynamic has shifted over time, with different attitudes prevailing in different societies. In ancient times, there was a flourishing of sexual indulgence, particularly among the elite classes in imperial Rome. During those times, royals would lust excessively after women. There seemed to be no restraint as men would indulge in sex outside marriage. It is believed that the Stoics were concerned about the rise of hedonistic behavior and a decline in rational thinking among people. Historical figures like Seneca held a more reserved attitude towards sex, possibly influenced by these concerns. They longed for a return to a more traditional and restrained sexual lifestyle, free from what they saw as the pervasive influence of sexual depravity. These Stoics promoted a new, more conventional way of living in which society and culture were free from the pervasive influence of sexual licentiousness. For Seneca, enslaved people were not to be subjected to physical abuse. Instead, they were rational beings capable of exercising free will. Seneca sought to alter people's perceptions and promote a more restrained attitude towards sex, much like the Stoics, who shared similar concerns about what they perceived as the decline of civilized society. On the contrary, some Stoics believed in erotic love and polyamory, a practice of engaging in multiple romantic relationships with the consent of many people. Zeno and Chrysippus advocated for polyamory as a way to ensure that paternal affection and protection is not limited to a small group of children. They believed that this approach would increase the chances of survival for all children, rather than just a fortunate few. These Stoics did not view erotic love in the same way as we do today, but rather as a means of strengthening the interpersonal relationships within the entire community. This would contribute to the safety of the city and provide the benefits of belonging to a family with multiple parents and close kinships for everyone. In the context of pre-modern societies, this perspective is valuable when considering the risks of pregnancy and the threat of invasions from other tribes. But even with polyamory, there were certainly principles they both agreed on. They believed that it is essential to approach sexual desire with caution rather than aggression. They emphasized that sex should be based on love and respect, rather than driven by irrational, instinctive behavior. The Stoics concluded that engaging in sexual activity should be guided by reason, aligning with their overall belief in leading a life based on the application of reason. Love in Stoicism. The Stoics had a profound and unashamed love, but approached it uniquely. Unlike the romantic view of love as unrequited, the Stoics saw emotions, including love, through a philosophical lens. They were always mindful of maintaining self-control, distinguishing between being free in control of their minds and actions and being servants to external circumstances. They were concerned that love could lead to irrational behavior and sought to avoid being overwhelmed. The difference lies in self-control. A person consumed by love might act irrationally. Epictetus wrote that being enslaved by one's feelings is a bondage. Many of Seneca's essays explore the overwhelming grief of losing a loved one. Still, he also emphasized love as a way to navigate through grief without being consumed by heavy emotions. The Stoics recognized that while they loved deeply, they were wary of how love could conflict with their philosophical principles. Stoic happiness, or eudaimonia, is a life free from desire, pain, grief, or fear without passion. When Stoic thinkers discussed love, it was often with high principles, extolling virtue and comparing the love of material things to a feverish thirst, irrational and impossible to satisfy. They also engaged in various Stoic practices to manage and temper their love, discussing and delving into their emotions to avoid giving in to excessive feelings. The Stoics uphold their philosophical principles unwaveringly, yet they embrace a broad spectrum of emotions, provided they are kept in check and grounded in sound understanding and judgment. As advocates of virtue, Stoics believe that true happiness stems from a virtuous mindset rather than from the pursuit of love or physical intimacy. To a Stoic, unrequited love is seen as nonsensical. Driven by their proactive nature, Stoic lovers prioritize giving love over receiving it. A Stoic approaches love with the composure of a general, employing a strategic approach. They carry the antidotes to excessive romanticism, prepared to love again without succumbing to infatuation. And if they do fall, as humans are prone to, they possess the resilience to rise once more. While often valid, this Stoic perspective can also be a double-edged sword, as we will explore shortly. When talking about losing loved ones, the Stoic philosophy would advise focusing on what you can control, even in love matters. We should embrace the human condition and the limitations imposed by nature. Recognize that we cannot possess the object of looking at our affection forever. Epictetus reminds us that the person we love is mortal, just like us, and that there is a finite time for love, as there is for everything. According to him, your pet has been granted to you for the present, not to be kept forever, just as a fig or a bunch of grapes is given to you at the appointed season. But if you desire these things in winter, you are being foolish. We have our loved ones on loan and should cherish them while they are with us. However, when they are no longer present, we should not let their absence bring us sorrow or distress. These truths may be brutal to accept, but we must also remember that moderation is a crucial and essential aspect of Stoic virtue. Now that we have seen how Stoics view love and sexuality, let's move on to how they view an aspect of life that most of us will face: marriage and building a family. The way that the Stoics view marriage differs from the way that Hollywood portrays it. Hollywood presents marriage as an emotional institution, where love is the primary motivator for getting married. However, according to Stoicism, marriage ought to be unique and reason should be considered when choosing. The Stoics hold that we do not influence the appearance of emotions like love. We experience grief, happiness, love, and anger at different times. Emotions are a necessary component of being human. Thus, eliminating them is pointless. According to Stoicism, love is usually the first emotion to feel, one of the most crucial elements of marriage. Thus, we must first comprehend the Stoic understanding of love. Despite popular opinion, Stoics are not emotionless people. Instead, these are individuals who respond to feelings in a healthy way. As love is an emotion, Stoics believed it was possible to feel, and eliminating the surface would not be a Stoic course of action. We should love and respect the person we will marry, not just get married for the sake of marriage. Being infatuated with someone is not the same as loving them. Instead, we should respect their opinions and always value their free will. Furthermore, Stoicism taught us not to have high expectations of our partner. Remember the control dichotomy. Everything in our lives can be classified into two categories: things we can control and cannot. This theory is known as the dichotomy of control. You have no control over other people, including your spouse. The only rule you have over yourself. So whenever you decide to get married, you should have courage, which entails being accountable and dedicated to this significant choice. Do you and your spouse love each other equally? Remember that reciprocal love demonstrates justice and fairness, making it the ideal. Moreover, are you getting married for reasons other than just lust? Wisdom is getting married without depending solely on feelings, as the Stoics taught. As you can see, marriage is one of the actions that the Stoic virtues are crucial for directing. Stoicism views marriage as a severe issue and a significant commitment. Commitment in marriage isn't just tied to being faithful, as we said earlier, and will repeat when you understand the principle of focusing on what you can control rather than what you can't. You are on your way to a happy marriage. Even if your marriage ends in divorce, these principles continue to affect you and will give you solace during such times. So if you're okay with applying the dichotomy of control and the Stoic virtues to your marriage, there is no problem with getting married. Although love plays a crucial role in marriage, it is not the only aspect. We ought to make a logical choice as well. In addition, Stoicism holds that partners ought to employ their free will. Refrain from letting other individuals dictate your ideas or behavior. Remember that you have power over your thoughts and deeds. Thus, you also have control over getting married. Generally speaking, the four Stoic values of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance should guide a marriage. After marriage comes parenting. The Stoics also have a view on that and how it should be done correctly. Stoic philosophers agree that parents hold the utmost significance in their child's physical, mental, and spiritual growth. They are responsible for instructing their children in essential skills such as eating, speaking, and walking, as well as providing moral guidance, all without expecting anything in return, as emphasized by Socrates in his teachings to his son. The Stoics also underscore the importance of children supporting their parents, recognizing them as their initial educators. In ancient Rome, a family held immense significance. Stoicism, originating from Greece, thrived in the Roman Empire during the era of renowned Stoic thinkers like Seneca and Cicero. Seneca, a prominent Stoic philosopher, emphasized the importance of marriage as a crucial way to propagate and consolidate political influence and transfer property. Given the uncertainties of life in the empire, such as war, illness, and childbirth complications, many individuals, especially in the upper echelons, often remarried 2 or 3 times. It was customary for spouses to have significant age disparities, as seen in Seneca's marriage to his younger wife, Paulina. Despite the challenges of their time, the Stoics developed distinct beliefs about family life, advocating for men to marry and have children. Cicero, sharing the prevailing Stoic mindset, believed that wise men should fulfill their societal duty by marrying, procreating, engaging in politics, and pursuing philosophy. During Seneca's era, there was a strong bond between father and sons, with fathers holding considerable influence in Roman society and being tasked with shaping their sons' moral development. Seneca benefited from his father's teachings, particularly in the study of law, as evidenced by his father's legal texts containing advice directed to Seneca and his brothers on how to approach the works. While fathers played an exemplary and commendable role, mothers greatly influenced their children's lives. In the upper classes, the daily care of infants and young children, including cleaning, bathing, and feeding, was typically carried out by family-enslaved people, while mothers assumed the responsibility of disciplining their children and nurturing their aspirations. In Stoic philosophy, there is a significant emphasis on the various advantages parents bestow upon their children, as well as the notion that it is the paramount obligation of offspring to reciprocate these benefits to their parents in their later years. Failure to support one's elderly mother and father, despite possessing wealth, is viewed as a sign of social exclusion. This illustrates the parental role in family welfare and the corresponding responsibility of children. Stoics advocate for the cultivation of filial piety, a virtue that entails a child's dutiful compliance with their parents. Confucius regarded this virtue as the foundation of moral goodness, in conjunction with demonstrating reverence for one's parents. He posited that filial piety underpins ren, or benevolence, towards others and the community. Please pay close attention because what I'm about to tell you is essential for anyone embracing Stoicism or striving to do so. While Stoicism has its merits for marriage due to its inherent qualities, it also presents challenges in this context. The primary issue is the need for emotional connection to deepen a relationship. Stoics are not devoid of emotions, but strive to prevent feelings from clouding judgment. The dilemma arises because emotional connection is crucial for fostering a deeper bond, causing concern for non-Stoics who may find it challenging to connect with a Stoic partner. As in life, finding a balance is vital. Being excessively rational or overly emotional in marriage both have their downsides. Therefore, every Stoic or aspiring one should strive to cultivate love and adapt to the complexities that arise in love, relationships, and marriage. We have reached the end of the video, guys. Don't forget to tell us what you think about how the Stoics viewed love and sexuality. Feel free to tell us your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, please like and subscribe to our channel to avoid missing out on more videos like this.